Stop what you are doing right now, because the survival industry has been lying to your face for decades. You have been sold a fantasy wrapped in tactical nylon and overpriced steel, and it is going to get you killed the moment the power grid flickers out for good. If you are tired of being treated like a customer instead of a protector, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are about to dismantle the multi-million-dollar survival kit industrial complex and show you what actually keeps a family breathing when the world goes dark. You have spent hundreds, maybe thousands, on titanium folding saws and ceramic water filters that weigh down your bug-out bag. But the truth is that you are failing the most basic test of urban survival. You are focusing on gear while the wolves are focusing on your behavior. If you want to join a community that values actual intelligence over retail therapy, stick around, because today we are talking about what the military actually issued us, why your $500 prepper kit is a dangerous lie, and how you can become the most prepared person in your neighborhood without spending another single cent. Look at your kit. Go ahead. Open that fancy bag sitting in your closet. You have probably got a fire starter that takes 20 minutes to work, a tactical pen that would shatter in a real fight, and enough paracord to build a bridge you will never actually build. You think you are ready for a grid down scenario because you have gear, but you are just a walking target. In the military, we learned the hard way that when the environment turns hostile, the first thing you lose is the luxury of carrying extra weight. We were issued equipment that had to serve 3 purposes at once, or it was left behind. Your survival kit is full of single-use gadgets that encourage you to play the role of a rugged woodsman while you are sitting in the middle of a suburb. That is the fundamental mistake. You are preparing for a movie scene, not the reality of the first 72 hours of chaos. In the military, we didn't train to be heroes. We trained to be invisible and efficient. If you look like a survivor, you become a source of resources for someone hungrier than you. That is why the gray man theory is not just a concept, it is your only path to safety. Let us tear down the myth of the specialized survival tool. You see these influencers on social media showing off their $1,000 loadouts, polished blades, and massive backpacks. They tell you that you need a specialized tool for every single possibility. That is a lie designed to keep you clicking buy buttons. When I was in uniform, we had to be ready for anything, but we didn't have the luxury of packing for perfection. We carried items that were low profile, high utility, and absolutely boring to look at. A survival kit should not look like something a special forces operator would take into the jungle. If you walk out of your house during a crisis period carrying a tactical backpack, you are broadcasting to every desperate person on the block that you have supplies worth stealing. You are basically ringing a dinner bell. The military taught us that the most valuable asset you have is not what is in your pocket, but how you blend into the environment. You need to stop buying gear that screams tactical and start buying gear that whispers civilian. Think about the first 72 hours. That is when the panic sets in. That is when the grocery stores are stripped bare and the roads turn into parking lots of burning metal. If you are planning to trek across the mountains with your family, you're already planning to fail. Urban survival is not about distance, it is about endurance and local stability. Your gear needs to reflect that. You need to stop worrying about how many miles you can hike and start worrying about how you can secure your home while looking like everyone else. When the power goes down, the first thing that happens is a breakdown in perception. People lose their ability to distinguish between a threat and a neighbor. If you are standing there in your tactical gear, you are the threat. We used to carry kits that consisted of simple, unremarkable items that could be replaced at any hardware store or grocery mart. If you lose your kit, you shouldn't be devastated. You should be able to walk into a store and build another one from the bargain bin. That is true preparation. Let's talk about the psychological trap of the prepper kit. It gives you a false sense of control. You feel safer because you have a bag filled with gadgets. But when the SHTF, you're going to be stressed, tired, and probably scared. You won't be scrolling through a manual to figure out how to use your complicated solar-powered multi-tool. You need items that work in the dark, under pressure, and with zero learning curve. The military issued items that were intuitive. If a piece of equipment required me to spend hours learning how to use it, it was useless to me in the field. Your $500 kit is a collection of curiosities, not a survival system. Why are you carrying a specialized fishing line kit when you live in a city? Why are you carrying a massive bushcraft knife when you should be worried about locks, locked doors and information, you are preparing for the wrong environment because it feels more exciting than the boring, necessary work of hardening your home and creating a low-profile exit strategy. Hardening your home is the most overlooked aspect of survival. You spend all your money on bug-out bags, but you ignore the windows, the doors, and the community dynamics of your own street. If you get home and you are inside, you have the advantage, but only if you know how to remain quiet. The military taught us the importance of operational security, or OPSEC. In the civilian world, this means keeping your mouth shut about your supplies and keeping your windows covered. Most people fail because they want to share their plans with their neighbors. They want to be the leaders of the new world. That is a great way to get yourself and your family targeted. True preparation is invisible. You don't tell your neighbors you have a generator, and you don't show off your food stores. You act like you're in the same boat as everyone else, even when you aren't. That is how you survive the first 3 days. It is not about fighting, it is about avoiding the fight entirely. Let's break down the actual contents of an effective, low-profile kit. Forget the titanium and the high-tech plastics. You need a reliable, unbreakable way to see in the dark, a way to handle minor injuries, and a way to communicate without relying on the grid. A simple, high-quality headlamp that doesn't have a tactical logo on it is worth more than $1,000 thermal scope. A basic trauma kit is vital, but only if you know how to stop a bleed without watching a video first. Practice on your family now. Learn the basics of first aid until your hands know the motions better than your brain remembers the theory. And don't forget the boring stuff: documentation, cash, hard copies of important papers, and a list of local contacts. While everyone else is panicking because their phones have died and their digital lives have vanished, you will be the one person in the room with the information needed to move forward. That is power. Now let's talk about the myth of the bug out. Everyone wants to talk about running to the woods. Have you ever tried to live in the woods for 3 days with your family? It is not a camping trip. It is a slow death by exposure and lack of resources. The military emphasizes the importance of the base. If you have a base, you defend it until you can't. You don't just abandon your shelter because the power went out. You harden it, you defend it, and you keep your head down. If you absolutely have to move, you don't do it with a massive pack that makes you look like a soldier. You move as a civilian, carrying a bag that looks like an office laptop bag or a standard gym duffel. That is the gray man principle in action. You are not a warrior. You are a person trying to get from point A to point B without being noticed. That is your primary goal. Anything that makes you stand out is an unnecessary risk. What about gear? Let's be very specific. You need a solid, simple knife, not a tactical monstrosity, but a reliable tool that can open boxes, cut cord, and help with repairs. You need a light source that is rechargeable and has a low light setting so you don't give away your position. You need water purification that is simple, like tablets or a basic filter, but remember that the most important resource is the water you have already stored in your pantry. If you are relying on finding water after the grid goes down, you're already behind. Preparation is about the stuff you already have in your house, not the stuff you buy to put in a bag. Your pantry is your survival kit. Your locked door is your first line of defense. Your discretion is your best weapon. Stop chasing the gear fantasies that the influencers are selling you to make money, and start looking at the reality of your own four walls. You want to know what the military actually cares about? It isn't the knife, it isn't the bag, it is the ability to adapt. When the plan falls apart, and it will, do you have the mental discipline to stay calm and make a new plan? Most preppers are so attached to their gear that when they lose a piece of it, they fall apart. That is why the psychology of survival is more important than the hardware. You need to train yourself to be comfortable with discomfort. Turn off the heat in your house for a night. Go without internet for a weekend. See how your family reacts to the silence. If you haven't tested your family's resilience during a calm time, you have no chance of surviving in a crisis. This is where most people get it wrong. They think preparation is about shopping. Preparation is about character, training, and mental fortitude. It is about understanding that your survival depends on your choices, not your credit card balance. We need to address the ego problem. Many preppers are fueled by the desire to be the hero, the hardened survivor who leads the way. This is a massive failure of logic. In a real collapse, the hero is the first person who gets injured or killed. The smart survivor is the one who goes unnoticed. You need to kill your ego before the collapse does it for you. When you are out in the world, be boring, dress like everyone else, talk like everyone else. Don't engage in political arguments that make you a target. Don't try to save the world, focus on saving your household. If you happen to help others along the way, that is a tactical decision, not a moral one. You have limited resources and limited energy. Every interaction you have with the outside world is a potential threat to your operational security. That is the hard reality that nobody wants to talk about because it isn't as glamorous as the tactical fantasies. Let's talk about the SHTF timeline. The first 24 hours are for observation. Don't move, don't react, just watch. See how the neighborhood changes. See who is panicked and who is prepared. By the 48-hour mark, the initial chaos will have thinned out and the real desperation will begin to show. That is when you secure your position. By 72 hours, the real danger starts. The organized looting, the breakdowns, the realization that help isn't coming. If you have spent your time correctly, you're already tucked away, your windows are blocked, your lights are off, and you are silent. You aren't out on the street trying to prove you are a prepper. You are inside, protecting your family and waiting for the dust to settle. This is the reality of urban survival. It is not a fight scene in an action movie. It is a waiting game. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this. Why go against the grain of the entire industry? Because I am tired of seeing good families destroyed because they relied on tactical toys instead of tactical behavior. I am tired of people spending their savings on gear that will fail them the moment they need it most. You deserve the truth. You deserve to know that you can protect your loved ones without needing to look like a mercenary. You have the power to create a secure environment, but only if you are willing to make the hard changes. Stop focusing on what you can buy and start focusing on what you can become. Become the kind of person who is calm under pressure. Become the kind of person who can spot a threat before it arrives. Become the kind of person whose home is a fortress of peace, not a target of envy. Look at your kit one more time. Is there anything in there that you could have bought at a grocery store? Then it is probably useful. Is there something in there that costs $200 and is made of space-age materials? Throw it out or sell it. Use that money to buy food, water, and tools for your home. Use it to improve your home security. Use it to pay off debt so you aren't tied to a specific location if things go south. That is the kind of preparation that actually changes your odds. The survival industry wants you to believe that you are one purchase away from safety. I am here to tell you that you are one mindset shift away from true preparedness. You are the survival kit. Your brain is the most important tool you own, and it is the only one that can't be replaced when you lose your bag. We are entering a period of global instability that isn't going to disappear next week. The grid is vulnerable, the supply chain is fragile, and the social contract is fraying. You have a responsibility to your family to be ready for the reality, not the fantasy. You don't need a tactical vest to survive a blackout. You need a solid plan, a quiet demeanor, and the discipline to execute when the time comes. Stop looking for the next magic tool. Stop looking for the ultimate bag. Look at your own life and find the gaps. Find the places where you are vulnerable and fix them. Do it quietly. Do it efficiently. Do it with the intent of someone who knows that their family's safety is the only thing that matters. The military taught us that the mission is the only thing that matters. Your current mission is to protect your family through the first 72 hours of a crisis. Everything else is secondary. If you have to choose between a piece of gear that makes you look cool and a piece of gear that makes you look like a regular neighbor, choose the latter every single time. If you have to choose between training yourself to be observant and buying a new flashlight, choose the training. The world is changing, and the people who survive aren't the ones with the most toys. They are the ones who can blend into the background while maintaining complete control over their own little corner of the world. That is the secret. That is the gray man reality. Take a look at your home tonight. Your home. Walk through every room and ask yourself, if the power went out right now and didn't come back on for a week, what would be the first problem I face? Is it the locks? Is it the glass? Is it the lack of water? Is it the fact that I don't know my neighbors well enough to know who is a friend and who is a threat? Answer those questions, and you will have a better survival plan than anything you can buy in a store. You don't need a $500 kit. You need a list of problems and a list of solutions that you can implement today. That is the path. That is the reality. And if you are still looking for more guidance on how to navigate this without falling into the trap of the survival industry, you know where to find us. This journey is just beginning. Every single week we break down the myths, we challenge the status quo, and we provide the actual, hard-won knowledge that you need to protect your family in an uncertain future. We don't sell fear, and we don't sell gear. We sell competence. We sell the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you are ready for whatever comes next. If you are tired of the tactical noise and you are ready for the survival reality, you need to join our community. We are building something that matters, something that doesn't rely on the grid or the supply chain to be effective. Click the link in the description, sign up for our newsletter, and let's start the real work of preparation. Don't wait until the power is already off to figure out who you are. Start today. Start now. Because when the hour of crisis arrives, you won't be reaching for a bag of overpriced toys. You will be reaching for your plan, your training, and your resolve. And that is exactly how you're going to make it through. Let us dig deeper into the actual mechanics of this mindset, because the transition from consumer to practitioner is not a simple shift in philosophy. It is a fundamental rewiring of how you perceive the environment around you. Most people move through the world in a state of perpetual distraction. They see a road, they see a bridge, they see a grocery store, and they see a home. They do not see the infrastructure that supports these things, nor do they see the fragility of that infrastructure. When you start living like a gray man, you stop seeing the surface of things. You start to see the dependencies. Think about the water you drink. Most of you have no idea where it comes from. You turn a handle and it appears. You assume it will always be there. But what happens on day 3 of a municipal failure? Where is the backup? If you do not have a secondary source within a reasonable distance or a method of purification that doesn't rely on electricity, you are living on borrowed time. This isn't about being paranoid. It is about understanding the baseline requirements of human survival and ensuring that you are not beholden to a massive, centralized system that is inherently prone to failure. The grey man knows that independence is the ultimate form of security. Consider your neighbors. In suburban environments, we have been conditioned to value privacy above all else. We build fences, we pull into our garages, and we close the door. We treat the people living 10 feet away like strangers. This is a massive tactical error. In a true crisis, your neighbors are your first line of defense or your greatest liability. You don't need to be their best friend, but you need to understand their capabilities. Who among them has a medical background? Who has mechanical skills? Who is a source of instability? If you haven't engaged in a conversation with them that goes beyond a polite wave, you are operating in a vacuum. Start small, learn their names, build a rapport. You are not looking to build a commune, but you are looking to build a network of situational awareness. If a threat enters your neighborhood, the first warning you receive will likely come from someone you know. If you are isolated, you are blind. Now, let's talk about the gear obsession again, because I know some of you are still holding on to that tactical vest in the back of your closet as if it's a suit of armor. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you actually trained with it? If you put it on, does it restrict your movement? Does it make you look like a combatant? In a crisis, the person who looks like a threat becomes a target. If you are walking down a street in a post-grid scenario wearing camouflage and tactical gear, you are announcing to every person with bad intentions that you have something worth taking. The truly dangerous people in this world don't wear uniforms. They look like the accountant, the school teacher, or the person walking their dog. They are invisible. They don't attract attention because they don't want to be involved in a conflict unless it is forced upon them. That is the ultimate goal. You want to be the person who is prepared for anything but looks like they are prepared for nothing. Building this kind of competence requires a different kind of investment. Instead of buying a new knife that you will probably never use, spend that money on a wilderness first aid course. Spend it on a defensive driving class. Spend it on learning how to repair a small engine or how to grow a garden in a limited space. These are the skills that translate into real-world resilience. A tactical flashlight is useful, but knowing how to navigate a dark building without one is a superpower. A high-end rifle is fine, but knowing how to de-escalate a confrontation with a hostile stranger will keep you alive, when using that rifle would only lead to legal or physical ruin. The reality is that most crises are not cinematic. They are boring, they are exhausting, and they are usually solved with patience and planning rather than violence. Think about the last time you had a major disruption in your life. Maybe it was a massive storm that knocked out your power for a week. What was the most stressful part of that? Was it the lack of water? Was it the fact that your food was spoiling? Was it the uncertainty of not knowing when it would end? These are the real-world scenarios. We prepare for the worst, but we live through the mundane. If you are prepared for a long-term grid-down event, you are automatically prepared for a short-term emergency. The reverse is not true. We need to discuss the mental aspect of this as well. The psychological strain of a crisis is something most people are completely unprepared for. We live in a world of constant stimulation where every problem has an instant solution. When that ends, the silence can be deafening. You need to cultivate a sense of inner calm. You need to be able to sit with discomfort. If you are the type of person who loses their temper when the internet goes down for 10 minutes, how are you going to handle a situation where you don't know where your next meal is coming from? Practice discomfort. Try fasting for 24 hours. Try turning off your phone for a weekend. Try walking instead of driving. These exercises strip away the illusion of comfort and show you exactly what your baseline is. There is also the matter of skills retention. You can watch all the videos you want, but knowledge without practice is just entertainment. If you have a water filter, have you actually used it? Do you know how to clean it? Do you know if the filter element is still good? If you have a fire starter, have you started a fire in the pouring rain? Most people fail at these things because they never test their equipment under stress. The gray man tests everything. They go to the park and start a fire just to see if they can do it with one hand. They go to the woods and spend a night in the cold just to see how their sleeping system holds up. This is the difference between a hobbyist and a practitioner. As we move forward in this series, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of these individual skills. We are going to look at food storage that doesn't involve expensive dehydrated buckets. We are going to discuss energy security that isn't dependent on massive solar arrays that make your house look like a target. We are going to talk about communication protocols that allow you to keep in touch with your family when the cellular networks go down. But before we get there, you have to commit to the mindset. You have to stop looking for a shortcut. There is no store-bought solution to the complexities of the future. There is only you, your family, your community, and the sweat you put into preparing them. Take a look at your home one more time. Look at the windows. Could you reinforce them in 10 minutes? Look at your pantry. If you had to feed your family for 2 weeks with what is currently in your cupboards, could you do it? And more importantly, would they eat it? Or would they revolt the moment the fresh food ran out? These are the realities of survival. It is about logistics. It is about discipline. It is about understanding that you are the captain of your own ship. If the ship goes down, it is because you were not prepared for the storm. The storm is coming. It always comes. The question is not whether you can stop the storm, but whether you can navigate it until the skies clear again. We have spent far too long as a society relying on systems that we don't understand and don't control. We have outsourced our survival to delivery drivers, grocery chains, and government services. It is time to claw back that responsibility. It is time to become the primary provider of your own security. And it starts with the realization that, in the end, it's just you. When the lights go out, there is no one coming to save you, not because they don't want to, but because they will be busy dealing with their own failures. You have to be the one who is already standing, already ready, and already moving toward a solution. If you are feeling overwhelmed, stop. Take a breath. You don't have to do it all at once. Start by securing your water, then move to your food, then look at your power, then look at your skills. It is an iterative process. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Every small step you take is a win. Every gallon of water you store is a victory over uncertainty. Every skill you master is a layer of armor that no one can take away from you. We are building a movement here, not just a list of tips. We are building a culture of competence in a world that is obsessed with comfort. Join us. Sign up for the newsletter. Participate in the discussions. Challenge what we say. We don't want followers. We want peers who are just as committed to this mission as we are. We are creating a pool of knowledge that will serve you, your family, and your community long after the current tactical trends have been forgotten. The road ahead is uncertain, but it is not uncharted. We have the map. We have the tools. We have the resolve. Now, we just need you to decide that you are done with the noise and ready for the reality. This is the moment where you stop talking about preparation and start actually living it. Let's get to work. The clock is ticking and the world isn't going to wait for you to catch up. Take the first step today and make sure that when the time comes, you are the one who is ready to lead, to protect, and to survive. Everything else is just shadow and dust. The truth is found in the action you take when no one is watching. That is the gray man way, and that is how we win.